Well, I guess we're not officially beginning, but I'll just say some things in any case. One of the things that what the plan is to I'll go ahead and talk a little bit, and then we'll sing a pipe honoring song, and then what I'd like to do is hand each person the eagle feather if they'd like to say something, whether it's related to anything they may have experienced in the last 48 hours that or your experience connecting to the pipe during that time. And then then we'll smoke the pipe out. And Candy brought up something interesting, whether there was any concern of a group of people smoking in a pipe in terms of the virus. And I left that up to her, and she's got a gung ho. So we'll all smoke the pipe together. And what I'll do is maybe we can, as I smoke it out, we can unmute. And for all those that are joining us, I guess one by one we could kind of call out, just call out your name, and I could just take a draw of the pipe and blow it to you in that way. And that's what when there's some of the women, when they go on moon time, they don't participate in the pipe ceremonies, but they're there kind of put some cedar boughs around them, and what we do is take a smoke of the pipe and blow the smoke to them, so that they can connect to the pipe in that way. And the reason for that, when women are in their moon time or menstruating, their energy is, and this is what has been how it's been explained to me. Obviously, I'm not a woman, so I don't know how that feels energetically. But that energy of a woman on their moon time is more of an earth-based energy, and that energy moves in a vortex counterclockwise back down into the earth. And the energy of the pipe ceremony is the opposite. It's more of a ascending vortex, so that goes clockwise in a vortex up to the universe. So, but to honor the women when they're on their moon time, because they're in a place of heightened creativity and insight and connection to the great mystery. And to honor them in that way, that's when we take a puff of the smoke from the pipe and blow it towards them. And we're waiting to see just, all right, come on, Squirt.
It's said when a woman is on her moon time that she's already in her own ceremony. Yeah. So, and she's a ceremony participating with the earth. So she's already at her most sacred and sitting in ceremony. So in the moon lodge, the women would actually kind of help hold the energy of the ceremony, and be able to sit there and make prayers in a different way, in a way that held everyone out there, because they were already participating in a full-on ceremony. And I'll just share with you one quick story, because I, being a woman, used to think, oh, they're just excluding us. Oh, that doesn't really happen. And I was at Sundance and went down to the altar, to feed the singers at like 4:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, and was walking down with one of the warriors. And as soon as we left the food, I went to try to walk away, and I literally got so grounded, is the best way I could put it, that I literally hit the dirt, and I had no idea what happened. And so he helped me up. We walked back, and here I had gone moon time. So if I had ever had any doubt about what happens to your energy in that moment, it literally brought me to my knees because I was in such a sacred place, in such a holy, in such a high vibration of the Sundance, that it literally rocked my world. And just that's how energy works in that ceremony, because I wasn't even supposed to be with time for weeks. So that's why it didn't even occur to me that's what happened. I had no idea what happened. So it really, Spirit had to show me in a very physical way that it wasn't about exclusion. It was about that there is a definite different energy that is happening. And then that way it doesn't interfere with the dancers when they're in their dance, and they're you know, they're needing to go up. They're needing to draw in that energy.
From the sun.
Yes. So it's it's a very cool thing. So just wanted to share that. And the other thing too is that if you would like to say your prayer with the eagle feather, that's up to you. If you want to say it verbally by unmuting yourself, just because this will go on YouTube. So if you're not comfortable with that, we honor that, and we'll just hold the feather for you to make your prayer with yourself, with you and Creator. But if you are open to doing it, just unmute like one at a time, and I'm probably calling you because we can kind of see the names, and it's up to you. Maybe I'll hold the feather for you, and you just make that prayer to yourself or out loud, your choice. Like I said, it will go on YouTube, so if you're not comfortable making a prayer in that way, I honor that. And so if anyone joins, they join. We begin. So
yeah, just to continue this conversation, that there was a time that it was that men were just pipe carriers, and men did sweat lodge, and men did Sundance, and that was because that was the means by which a man was able to, in some form or fashion, connect to the spirit world, to connect to the great mystery. That was the means by which that was available to them to do that. And so when they would go to the Sundance ceremony and get pierced and give of their flesh and give of their blood to make a prayer, that was the way that a man was able to give of their body to make a prayer for all the relatives. And but women, when they're on moon time, they by themselves are able to connect to that prayer and to the great mystery, and make a powerful prayer by themselves, and they're giving their blood and their flesh, every month in that way. And so, and this is just listening to some elders talk, and at a time when there was when Native ceremonies were really, there was a campaign to eliminate them in this country's history, that a lot of those women's ceremonies were lost. And so and the connection to the ceremony for women was lost, or there was a disconnect. And so that's when women started doing the sweat lodge and following a pipe and carrying a pipe and doing the Sundance as well. And maybe that's changed some. But they're all women are able to take part in all these ceremonies now, which is a good thing. And maybe that will lead them down a road where they won't need to do the ceremonies anymore, because they feel in their moon time, they feel the nature of creation, within themselves, and in that energy of creation are able to have insights into the life for all the relatives and into their family's life and their own life, and or maybe come up with something, an insight or a dream, an inspiration to share with people that would inspire them and support their lives and such. And so yeah, that's how that goes. One other thing I wanted to mention, I didn't talk about the other night. If y'all can see this is my Sundance belt, and it's got a ribbon of yellow and white and red and black, the color of the four directions. But that's just the belt that when men's Sundance, they wear a skirt. And so that's just the belt that ties around the skirt to keep it up. And so whenever I set an altar, I like to put that belt out just because it carries that energy of the ceremony, of the Sundance ceremony. So I like to put that on the altar as well. And I always kind of get a little tear when I bring it out and put it down, because it is symbolic of a very significant part of my life. And so that's what that is. Okay. So we're gonna sing a song now. It's a pipe honoring song, and after that we'll talk. Pass the feather around, and whoever would like to say what they would like to say can have the opportunity to do that. Oh yate wamayanka, oh yate wamayanka, chanupa kile wakaye. Yate ayanka po, oh yate wayanka, oh yate wayanka, chanupa kile wakaye, oh yate anikritelo. All righty. So, interesting last 48 hours. But one of the things that kind of that I went through, and some of my thoughts and and such, and I just from time to time I would just feel the pipe and envision it and just picture it in my mind. But I took at work yesterday, took a little time to watch something on YouTube. I just typed in nature of the universe, which is a big subject. But one of the things that drew my attention, I have kind of a science-oriented, math-oriented mind, and there was a whole selection of things, mostly scientists talking about the nature of reality and the nature of atomic structure and such like that. That's where my mind goes. But it was just amazing, the discussion and the progression of our understanding of the nature of atomic structure and how it plays out in the world, but also then how it challenges our concepts of reality. And so I extended that to what we're doing here, and this concept of reality, that we could take a some tobacco and some red willow bark and put it in a pipe made of wood and stone and make prayers with it and empower those prayers by doing that with this pipe. And all that is so much connected to our human experience, dating back thousands of years and leading up to this moment and into the future. And a nature of our understanding of an atomic structure is about probabilities. We can't specifically observe an atomic structure and think of it as a solid thing. We just believe it's there. There's a mathematical high probability that they exist and that they are there. So, which is interesting because we're talking about the things that our bodies are made of, that all things are made of, that nature is made of, all the relatives are made of. We can only prove that they're probably there. And so our solid bodies, extended in thought, are probably solid and probably here. So that's where I was going. And so we probably, in a high probability, can do a ceremony and pray with this pipe and make prayers. And there's a high probability that the prayers we make create a ripple effect into the world and to all our relatives. And so that's my prayer, is that what we do here tonight creates that high probability that the relatives' lives will be that much better and good and full of love and peace in their hearts and their minds. So,
in the last 48 hours, I definitely have been thinking about my biggest prayer going into the chanupa was gentleness. And that's a prayer that is common, we very commonly make in ceremony. And so it was making me think how in every prayer I've made since I remember has ended with gentleness and gentleness. And so it made me think our given situation, if our prayers being answered, this came to us in the most gentle way possible. So, and still thinking about the ways to look at the positive and the gratitude for the virus is nothing happens to us, happens for us. This virus came for us somehow, and it did come in the most gentle way possible, which is scary to think about what the not gentle way would have been. But I just kept thinking, just keep praying for gentleness and how the rest of this time holds out to just keep having it be as gentle to us as possible. I mean, are we going to go there first?
Well, we can do that.
Do you want to hold it?
We're going to present the feather to.
Sean.
So this, in order for the when I say something, and they will understand where it should happen. Yeah, but yes, it's an you can your prayer. Yeah.
Who's speaking?
Ernest.
Are they talking?
I don't know who's supposed to go, and I also, you're very glitchy, so I'm not sure what's happening right now.
Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, what?
You can make a prayer.
Who?
It's like frozen.
You're freezing.
I hear you.
We can't hear you.
There you go.
Can you hear us now?
Oh, okay. I see that. I can't really hear, but I will make prayer. So, whirlwind of 48 hours in the global and in my personal life. Before last, we started, I was really feeling I knew there was a reason why, and I knew I was here, and we were all here for a reason, but I couldn't figure out how to help. I'm a psych nurse, I'm with kids, and even the clinicians, they were terrified. These are therapists who, they listen to everyone's stories, and they're afraid and coming to me and saying, what do I do, Lynn? And I've had all these wonderful teachers, and I've never felt like I have anything to say myself. And I even pulled a card, and it says, embrace your power.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one that pulled out today, just before this. So I'm so grateful, because I feel like if I can come into my own through this, and help others come into their own, that alone will just help shift and create more of an awakening. And I'm finding there actually is a really much bigger audience than I even ever expected. And that's onto the little platform that I put it. So that is so humbling and hopeful. So my prayer is that, as everyone said, that this happens gently and
Mm-hmm.
that this happens very gently. And I don't want to be in fear, and I want to help people not be in fear, and to just take in the blessings that I know in the roundabout way it actually is. So that is my prayer.
Ready to go.
Who's next?
Me?
You.
Ah. It's been a crazy 48 hours. I found out a professor of mine that I took, that I had class for 4 years with, he passed away, and my parents' cat, who she's been there since I was there when I was a kid. She passed away, so it's been a tough 48 hours, but thankfully I've had Lynn, who's helped me through it, and just try to take it a day at a time and make prayers for gentleness, and just keep on going.
Kind of like you're shedding the past
Yeah,
in a
weird way.
weird way.
Yeah. And then
No.
Hey, Keith.
So you can go, Keith, if you want.
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't hear anything.
I thought he said, well, I was like, you can make crazy.
I think we all probably can just say it's been a crazy 48 hours. So we'll just start with that since that seems to be the theme. I've really just been trying to sit with my feelings and sort of the feelings that are coming up and just allowing them to be and not trying to necessarily analyze them or judge them or figure out what they are, but just, allow myself to have the feelings that I'm feeling and experience them for what they may be and for what medicine they may bring. Today is the first day since we've started this whole thing that I've felt antsy, like in the house, like sort of pacing in my house and like unsettled. Through this whole thing so far, with all the crazy, I've felt very centered, very grounded, and realized that everything that I've been doing up until this point has sort of been prepping for this point. And so this isn't a drill. This is the real thing. And all the stuff that we've been doing, the work, the prayers, the ceremony, just everything we've been doing has been building up for us to actually be able to stand in our center and like you had said about your power and just sort of being able to claim that power and stay in that center. And today's the first day that I've felt not that, and not severe, but just sort of antsy. So I'm really thankful for this to help that grounding and help that centering. I texted Candy after we did the loading of the pipe and the ceremony on, I don't even know what day it is, 2 days ago, whatever the day that was. I went out for a bike ride and there were 4 white doves circling around my house, like circling around. And I'm like, they just, doves, and they were white doves. They weren't just mourning doves or anything like that. There were 4 white doves that were circling around. So I texted her. So that was a good confirmation about, that work that we're doing. We may not directly see the effects, but it just ripples out, and I really believe and know that these prayers that we're doing and this holding the center is really doing good for everybody, because we're all doing it together in our own way around the world. People are doing these things. They're finding another way of living, which is what we needed to do. And so that shedding that's happening, it's uncomfortable. And one of the things I was writing when I was journaling today was that when a caterpillar spins its cocoon, does it sit there and contemplate its death? Or does it actually just accept what's going to be happening and trusting that it'll emerge out on the other end of all of that process where it needs to be? And so just trying to flow with that whole thing. So again, like to mirror with what you guys were saying, just that gentleness, that flow, just having the openness to receive a different way of doing things, a different way of engaging in our lives, a different way with engaging with each other in a more heartfelt, centered way, and not so much just a doing, but more of a being way. So that's sort of where I've tried to keep my thoughts for the past 48 hours. I can't say that it's been that way all the time, but so that's sort of where I am. I hope.
Ashley, would
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, the past 48 hours, it's definitely felt like things kind of shifted into alignment. As much as everybody's kind of been out of sorts with everything, oddly, I feel super, super grounded. And I don't know whether it's because for the past 2 years, I've really tried to work on my practice for my own, my life came to a halt 2 years ago, right? So I was in the rat race and then everything stopped. So I feel like all of that has kind of brought me to this point, almost adding on to what he was saying, like all the things that didn't really make sense before. Like all the people that I take care of, my grandmother, my aunt, and my uncle, they all have leukemia. My best friend has cancer, and, you know, keeping them safe. It's like going through the same thing now, except for, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like keeping them safe, right? It's like they're quarantined. So all of them around me, it's been that way before this. And now kind of having that experience, it's helping other people to kind of navigate through, if that makes sense. So, I mean, there's times where it feels like a lot of pressure because I'm the healthy one. So if anything gets brought in, then it's kind of on me. But at the same time, I feel like a lot more grounded than if I hadn't gone through all this stuff in the past 2 years. So, but the ceremony definitely has helped bring that a little bit more forward as well. So thank you.
And Jackie, if you wanted to just do this in silence, you can just put on the chat to let us know when you're completed with your prayer. And just know we'll get one to the next person that you can say that prayer within yourself while you're here, and Spirit can hear you and that connection. And we thank you for joining us. So now we'll go to Jules. Is it Jules? Yeah. So Jules, you can unmute. Yes.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say unmute. You can unmute and come on board.
And what I'm saying a prayer about how I felt the past 48 hours.
Or any prayer that you would like to put out there with the connection to the pipe and your experience, or anything you feel that if you wanted to share it with the collective that may be helpful, and so whatever's in your heart.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, and just my Wi-Fi is not great, so I'm sorry if I get crackly. But I think, you know, I really resonate with Keith's sentiments about the cocoon, and I've been thinking a lot about the snake the past couple days, and, you know, the shedding of skin, and kind of, you know, rebirth, and just feeling really a general sense of gratitude. And, you know, I think past couple months, past couple years, you know, I and those around me have gotten, you know, caught in the race and caught in this world that, you know, it caught in a world so based on materialism and consumption, and, you know, feeling like we are our things, or I am my things. But I think I'm learning in the past couple of days, when, you know, so many things have been taken out of my life, that, you know, who I'm learning more about who I am at the core, and I'm grateful for that. And also learning, you know, what has stayed around are also the things that really matter in my life, like the time I've gotten to spend with my family, the past couple days, or the time I've gotten to spend outside in nature with the sun and with the rain and with the trees. And so I think those moments of, that I think used to feel so bare, when I would take a walk, or, when I maybe would spend time with my family, when I would want to be doing other things, I think they're really feeling really full and full of life and full of love. And I think those simple moments and that simplicity is something, it feels wonderful to have my gratitude revitalized. And I would say that's my prayer.
What are you doing, crazy?
Okay, so I could hear all the prayers, and there were so many thoughts. Now, for me, I actually slept in the room with the pipe, so it was a very interesting ride in my dream time, and sitting and holding space with it, and could feel the prayers going in. And for me, I actually sat in a place of great stillness up till tonight. When I came home, I went into the salon with the thoughts of spending 2 or 3 hours, and literally worked, I don't know, an 8 or 9 hour day of trying to navigate and make some sense of a roadmap for all of us on our way back with the best intentions, and talking to clients, some clients, and where they're at and their fear and their anxiety, and trying to hold space with them. And I think when I started getting ready, we were trying to make dinner, and it was my sister's 50th today, and we couldn't celebrate it with her. And so Johanna went over and decorated her and Fiona her driveway with like social distancing, and I bought some things, we gave her flowers, and trying to make that. There has been some loss and some death also for us that came through in the last 48 hours. But tonight, like, the anxiousness was almost like when I really tapped in, so it was like the pipe saying, okay, come on, it's time to light. It's time to release the prayers. It's time to set them free, to release them to the great mystery, so that they can be heard, and that they can be honored, and they can be recognized, and so that we can almost be released from that high level ceremony. For anyone that's ever been in a ceremony in that way, when it's done, it's almost like, woo, like, but in a good way. For me, the 48 hours, what it has done is, I've been writing a book now for like 4 years, like literally. Like, I started, I put it away. I started, I put it away, and I've been writing and inspired, but it's more like, as I'm writing things, it's been very cathartic for me. Like, yesterday I spent with a couple of people that I realized some of the things that I've been holding on to, or the illusion or the fear that I've created, the projections that I've put out there that I believe to be real, that aren't real. They're my projections. Sat and talked and been talking that out, and seeing how much it is just my ego. It's just an illusion that I've created to stop me. And about the judgment of myself, and how I perceive myself, and how I move. So it's been a lot of crying, a lot of soul searching, because my soul's telling me it's time for the next level, and whatever that is. And it's time to move, and it's time for me to shed my past the way the snake sheds its skin in one clean swoop. It's the same as being that butterfly. Butterfly is always my totem. There was always a yellow butterfly when something big was in my life that would come. And so for me, it's like, okay, I'm finally ready to break out on the other side and to use my wings. And I don't know how that's going to look or what it's going to be. But I can't worry about that anymore. And it's been about, like, the only thing that we can control is how we move in this, how we can stay still, how we can stay centered, how we can stay as much in the love and not in the fear. And to do that with the most gentleness. And so I thank our community. I thank our ceremonial community that's here, where we hold each other and we grow with each other. And that is such a gift and a blessing. And for my family to be here, making a prayer in this way and in any way, and just to really realize is what I'm really hearing is that life is a ceremony. And how do we bring that ceremony into our everyday life? How do we honor that divinity within us at all times, even when it's tested? And so that's my not challenge for myself, but that's my goal for myself, is how do I incorporate ceremony more into my life as I honor that every thought's a prayer. So, yes.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and light this pipe and smoke it out. And what I'm thinking is, what I need to do first is what you call wind the pipe, meaning I'll light it and then blow smoke in the four directions, and a puff smoke to the Father, to the Mother, and then to the pipe. And then I'll pass it to Johanna, and so she can smoke. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of come up around the front of the computer, and if everybody's watching.
Well, I can read the names. Yeah.
Okay, if you just want to go in order, and
Well,
if you could just say their name.
Yes. Well, we'll do it in order of how you guys spoke. Is that good? Thumbs up. And so I'll call your name as we spoke. Smoke. As you spoke, but then he smokes. Wow, that's just a really tongue twister. So that you know that's when it's coming to you. Okay.
All right. Makes sense. Okay, and we're gonna do this squatting, I guess, because if we stand up,
I don't even think I can feel my legs.
Correct. Grandfather, grandmother, great mystery. Say a prayer of thanks and gratitude for all the relatives, for all the folks here in the ceremony. I ask you to bless their lives, bless the life of their families, and all their relations. And I ask you to help them to take each step and experience each moment of the day in as gentle a way as possible, and in a way that is always prayerful and with thoughts of gentleness and compassion for all the relatives. And I'm grateful for this pipe and having the opportunity to present it to the people so that they may make prayers for their life. Hope.
Okay, Lana, so get ready to receive. Sean. Keith. Ashley. Jackie. Jules. That was for my sister.
Oh.
That's for all those that have went into spirit. Now it's for all those that are going to watch it after. And I'm asking Wayne right now to do them for all those that are grieving our losses, so that we can do it in a good way, so that we can move forward and be reborn, so that we can release and grieve all those things that were familiar to us that will not be familiar to us on the other side of this. So I make this prayer.
So before we take the bowl and the stem apart, I just want to say one thing, that I pray that we have come together and made these prayers in a way that is complete and whole, and so that we don't have to come back and do it again. Oh, talk now. So that's a pipe ceremony. I am grateful for all you to be here. Like always, it's an honor to be able to walk with the pipe and bring it to people. Hopefully, we've done it in a way that honors this pipe and all pipes and all that have walked in this way for a millennium and all that will continue that way. So I'm grateful to you all. Altogether, you know, we create a prayer that makes a difference in the world and the lives of people all over. So with that, I say thank you. Dr. Austin.
Happy Austin. Thank you all for being here. Be gentle with yourselves and honor anything that comes up, however it comes up, and walk in light. Walk in light, be light. And we love you all.
Good night.